Testing one, two, testing one, two. Hey, what's up, you guys? It is your boy, Evan Trevino, coming to you with another video. So, first and foremost, I hope you guys had a great Easter. I hope you had a good time with your family, with your friends. I know I sure did. But Easter wasn't so happy and joyful for everyone. Quite a couple people had their feathers ruffled, had their days seemingly ruined by some words from the president. Now, I want you to know that despite me being a avid supporter of President Trump, I acknowledge that sometimes things get a little too messy. Sometimes we miss the mark of where we should be and how we act. And this is one of those situations. Yeah, that's right. Rare Trevino criticism of Trump. Get it while you got it. So, on Easter, Trump put out this truth saying Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you will be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. Now let's just digest that for a second. You're going to, one, declare an attack for Tuesday on Easter Sunday. Couldn't have done that the day before. You couldn't have done that the day after. You chose Easter, God's day, to declare your attack. Not the timing I would have chose. And then to top it off, you're cursing in it. Now, I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you what is proper etiquette and how to talk about things. But let's pretend for a second that Easter has some sacred aspect to it. Like maybe we shouldn't be talking like this on such a huge platform on Easter. I don't know. I don't know. It's just me, but I just feel like this was a little uncouth. Wasn't very classy. And Trump's never been the person to claim that he's the classiest president, but come on. Come on, man. You ran The Apprentice. You know how this is supposed to go. You know about decorum. I just did not like this truth. Now, I wasn't the only person who didn't like it. We're going to get into that later. But there's a running theme. It's not just Trump who's kind of making too much light and not taking this seriously enough in our communications about this. So, popular Twitter peruser, Cat Turd. I don't know why he's called Cat Turd. Maybe that was just like a funny name he had before he got into politics and became more well known. And at that point, that was just his brand. I don't know the Cat Turd lore. Maybe I should look into that. But I want you to see the stark contrast in this. Beginning of the presidency, we were really riding this wave that was started in the campaign about no more new wars, right? No more forever wars. No more U.S. involvement in foreign wars. Just a year ago, Cat Turd was posting. And that echoed the sentiment of the entire party. It echoed the sentiment of the entire movement. Everyone was on board with that. And then he starts tweeting stuff like this. Happy power plant and bridge eve. Like I said, man, I'm not your mom, not your dad. I just think we shouldn't joke and make light of these things. These are real military actions. These are strategic actions that we shouldn't take and make as jokes. People's lives get lost. And even if you can justify the military action you're taking, you shouldn't joke about it. Now, there's one thing to joke about military action abstractly, where it's like, the U.S. could drop a sun, can literally drop a sun on a country, and that could be funny in some context. Until you say, "Hey, we're going to drop a sun on a country tomorrow," that's not that funny. In fact, that's a little worrying. I feel like we're watering down what this actual action is. Justified or not, It doesn't sound well, it doesn't feel good. It's not classy, like I said, but I would even go as far as to say it's also kind of low IQ. Come on, we're supposed to be the reasonable ones. Why are we doing this? Not a good look. But following this trend of incorrect reactions to things, I actually want to pivot a little bit. So, Trump did put out that truth, and he put out another truth too. One that was a bit more aggressive in the delivery of it, especially with his opening statement of saying how an entire civilization is going to die tonight. And that he didn't want it to happen, but it probably will happen. And he's, of course, talking about the Iranians. Let me actually pull up the full truth for you. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. Now, listen, that is a very heavy way to start a tweet, a truth, however you want to put it. Whole civilization will die tonight. That sounds harsh. That sounds evil. But it's also kind of a litmus test. Trump's been in office for 6 years now, right? One presidency of him, one stolen from him, and then here we are today. And you haven't figured it out yet that if it's not coming out of an official White House letterhead, you probably shouldn't take it all that seriously. Even if it's talking about something that's very real, it's likely hyperbole. You know, it's likely meant to rile you up, to garner engagement. All PR is good PR sort of thing. Like you actually have to have brainworms to think that the US is just going to wipe out 90 million Iranians. Like it's an actual just litmus test for political competency, media competency. Let's read some of the reactions to this, right? So Candace Owens, the same chick that believes that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. Uh, the 25th Amendment needs to be invoked. He is a genocidal lunatic. Our Congress and military need to intervene. We are beyond madness. Moving on to Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, AOC. This is a threat of genocide and merits removal from office. The president's mental faculties are collapsing and cannot be trusted. To every individual in the president's chain of command, you have a duty to refuse illegal orders. That includes carrying out this threat. No surprise that she can't tell that this is clearly an exaggerated statement. Didn't happen, by the way. If you haven't noticed, that was made on the 7th. Today's the 8th. Iran still exists. Who knew? Who knew? Well, I mean, anyone with a semblance of common sense and an IQ above room temperature, everyone in that category knew, but these four apparently didn't. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. 25th Amendment. Not a single bomb has dropped on America. We cannot kill an entire civilization. This is evil and madness. Come on. Come on. You really thought the US was just going to wipe Iran off the face of the earth? We're not Israel. Ooh, that one might get me in trouble. Ilhan Omar, soon to be deported. Sickeningly evil. Donald Trump must be impeached. When will it be enough for my Republican colleagues to grow spines and remove him from office? So these are the reactions from people, and of course, there's an element of like clickbaiting, engagement farming going on. But I also think these people are genuinely stupid in taking it so seriously. It was never gonna happen, but It was never going to happen. And to pretend otherwise, you're either incompetent or you are disingenuous. You're incompetent at best, disingenuous at worst. So, now that we've talked about like how people are kind of tarting out over this, let's actually talk about what the newest developments are. So, you may have heard a ceasefire was negotiated. Yeah. 2 weeks to work things out and figure out how we're going to go forward and end the fighting. Would it surprise you to hear that it's already dissolving? Didn't surprise me in the slightest, but I am a little bit surprised in the sense of how they're trying to angle why these are breaking down. So the main reason is that Israel has striked Lebanon over 100 missiles. I believe it was 142 deaths and over 400 wounded. There was 182 people killed. Hundreds were wounded. Deadliest day in the Israel-Hezbollah war. This strike, while not exactly continuing the ongoing fighting with Iran, clearly ticked them off. Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran. They are on their bankroll. They enact their will. It's very clear to see this is going to ruffle some feathers with the Iranian government. So, in response, what do? Close the strait again. Back to square one. And Israel really has this habit of waiting for us to create a ceasefire and just to sneak in another hit. Really bad habit of theirs. Really bad habit. Not a fan of that. Not really a fan of them in general, but really don't like that behavior. Very bad. Not something I would expect from our greatest ally. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, strike happens. Talks dissolve, tensions rise. But this is what did surprise me, because I mentioned there was another element in there, that the Iranian parliament has said that our terms are now unreasonable. Now, our terms haven't changed. They haven't changed since they started the ceasefire. I think you have this back and forth going on between the bureaucrats within the parliament and the actual Iranian regime. There's this miscommunication where one is constantly saying, yeah, we're ready to work things out, we are ready to end this conflict, and then you have the military and theocratic leaders saying, absolutely not, we're fighting to the very end. It's kind of ridiculous. It is kind of ridiculous. Nothing has changed about the conditions. Why they suddenly are not acceptable is beyond me. And in fact, when you actually go further into the article and try to find a reason, like, look, violating 3 clauses of the framework deal. So, with the conditions for ending, they don't go into detail about which conditions specifically. I do believe this has something to say with Trump saying that this will be a toll-free area. If I remember correctly, I want to say it's that Trump had a problem with them tolling ships that were coming through for $1 a barrel. That's a lot of money. Billions of dollars, potentially. I'm not sure where things have dissolved. And I wish that we had more details on that. But nonetheless, they have dissolved for supposed violations of the framework, and that the negotiations were unreasonable, and that Israel struck Hezbollah in Lebanon. If I had to pick any of those reasons to be the primary reason, I would say it's the Israeli strike. That seems to stand out to me, at least. But they're saying that the negotiations aren't working out. Never satisfied, man. Never satisfied. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. That's all I wanted to really talk about. I wanted to talk about just this lack of etiquette this lack of decorum when talking about the loss of lives, and also this lack of seriousness and not understanding how Trump operates. Like I said, he's been in office long enough that if you don't understand that if it's not coming with a White House letterhead, you probably shouldn't take it word for word, face value. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Am I tripping? Am I being too hard? Let me know what I'm doing wrong. But if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm Evan. This is the video, and I'm out. Peace.